Chasing sunsets, painting skies are red. With every mile, a new story sealed. Here we go, Finberries on wheels. Finberries on wheels.
This video will be a little bit different. As you know, our original plans kind of went out of the window. So this is what we actually did rather than what we planned to do. Let's have a look at Monday the 19th of May. We'd stayed over at North Row and Loch End Hall, and we decided to go and visit Lerwick. It seemed strange to have been in Shetland for so long and not actually be in the capital, so we decided to have a day in Lerwick itself. So we drove into Lerwick. That was a really interesting journey, and we drove past a huge wind farm, Viking wind farm, so we'll show you a little bit of that. And then we filled up with fuel on the way into town, and then parked up just street side. Then we went and found somewhere to have lunch, and we'd hoped to go to Piri Cafe, but it was shut on a Monday. We went to Coffee Culture, which was lovely, and we had a sandwich, and I think Neil had soup and a coffee. Then we went into town, and Neil went to Jameson's of Shetland, which is a traditional Shetland wool shop, and he bought himself a couple of nice jumpers from there. Next door to there is Island Larder, where I'd seen adverts on Facebook before we went, and I really wanted to buy a bag of puffin poo. Puffin poo obviously isn't really puffin poo. It's a sweet with a mixture of white chocolate, coconut. They're really, really tasty, and I'm glad I got a bag. In fact, we ended up going back later in the week and buying more bags to take home. Then I wanted to go to Fort Charlotte. We're fans of the Bridgerton series, and before we watched Bridgerton, we'd watched Queen Charlotte, which is another series. Queen Charlotte shows what happened before Bridgerton. So this fort was named after Queen Charlotte, who was wife of King George III, Mad King George. And I wanted to go and visit Fort Charlotte. We like castles and stuff like that anyway. And so we went there. I will be honest, accessibility was a little bit mixed there. It was quite tricky, but it was nice to be there. Then we went to the Shetland Museum and Archives. That was really, really interesting. We could have spent a lot longer there, but obviously we were quite tired by then. We'd planned to go in the morning, but it didn't actually open until 12, so we'd gone in the afternoon instead. And then finally, on our way out of town, we went to Tesco's. We're also going to look in this video at Clickimin Loch, which we did on the Tuesday afternoon. Clickimin Loch and the Broch of Clickimin are just outside Lerwick. We parked at the leisure complex. That was really handy, and we had a lovely walk around the loch, beautiful paths, and then we hoped to go around the Broch of Clickimin. In reality, it wasn't at all accessible, so Neil went in and got some photos, and I sat outside with Liggy and just had a relaxing half hour or so on the grass. On Wednesday, we went to Bressay. So we went back into Lerwick to catch the ferry. We were really lucky with the ferry. We arrived and they'd just filled one, and there wasn't another ferry for an hour or so. But he did the run, which is only 10 minutes over to Bressay, and then immediately came back for us, which we were really grateful for. And then we went to the Speldeburn Cafe for lunch, which is a community-run venture, and then had a look around the Bressay Heritage Centre. And we actually stayed over in the car park at the ferry port on Bressay. The weather wasn't great, it was extremely windy. One of the treats, though, of that trip was that while we were walking to the cafe, we passed Bressay Marina, where we would have liked to stay, but unfortunately they'd got all the boats out of the water, so you couldn't stay there. However, there were seals in the harbour there, so we got some photos and videos of the seals there. And we just had a lovely time in Bressay, and that was really the end of our trip. We did have a couple of other return visits to places that we'd enjoyed before, but I think this will be where our video series will end. So at the end of this video, there won't be any more of the Shetland series. So I hope you've enjoyed it. But for now, let's have a look at some of the sights and the photos and the video that we got coming into Lerwick and for those few days.
Shoulder road, no edges in my view. Every mile fresh like morning dew. Finberries on wheels, life's a ride. Freedom rolling like the ocean tide. Wheels are spinning, sun on my face. Moving hearts, no need to race. Adapted journey, no barriers here. Every detour makes the moment clear. Finberries on wheels, let's chase the sky. Horizons call, rolling dreams don't lie. Motorhome world where limits break. Finberries on wheels, life to stake.
So we arrived in Lerwick. As fans of the Shetland TV series, first we headed for the Lodbury and Minn Beach. We didn't see D.I. Perez though. Then we had a walk around the town where Neil treated himself to a Shetland jumper and I got some puffin poo. Then we made our way to Fort Charlotte. There has been a fort on this site since 1652 or thereabouts, but the current fort was built in 1781 and was named after Queen Charlotte, wife of King George III, or Mad King George. It was built to defend the Sound of Bressay from the Dutch, but has never been in active use during any period of hostility. None of its guns have ever been fired in anger. It has been used as a garrison, a jail and courthouse, a Coast Guard station, and as a base for the Royal Navy Reserve. Now it's a drill hall for the Territorial Army, and it's owned by Historic Environment Scotland. Then we took the ferry across to Bressay and spent a couple of days there. I hope you enjoy the photos and videos that we took there.
Wheels are rolling on the road ahead, chasing sunsets, painting skies are red. With every mile, a new story sealed. Here we go, Finberries on wheels. Finberries on wheels. Finberries on wheels. The earth is our map. Freedom and adventure, no room for a gap. Through mountains and valleys, every place reveals the joy of the journey. Finberries on wheels. Campfires glow under starry night skies. Home on the road where the spirit never lies. Wind in our hair, we know how it feels. The call of the wild. Finberries on wheels. Engine hums its tune, the heartbeat sings. Life on the move, oh the joy it brings. From coast to coast, we break all seals. Stories of magic, Finberries on wheels. Finberries on wheels. The earth is our map. Freedom and adventure, no room for a gap. Through mountains and valleys, every place reveals the joy of the journey. Finberries on wheels. Fires glow under starry unfolds, adventure awakens, the heart grows bold. Forever it echoes, life spinning reels, our song of freedom, Finberries on wheels.